Hi ladies, I want to share a thought with you today about rest. In Hebrews chapter 3, the Bible talks about the rest that was promised to the people of Israel, and that rest was the promised land. And many of them never reached that rest because of unbelief. And then chapter 4 goes on to talk about the ultimate rest that's promised to the children of God, and that's heaven. And yet there will be those that never reach that rest because of unbelief. But in that space in between, in that time that we're living in, there's a rest that God has promised to us. In Exodus chapter 33 and verse 14, God says, "My presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest." In his presence, he's promised rest. And now of all times, it's easy to forget and lose sight of that. We have to pray a covering over our minds and daily guard what we allow ourselves to dwell on. We're living in chaotic times, and it's so much our nature to let our minds just kind of get dragged away with the pace of everything that's happening and allowing ourselves to get sucked into the lies. The enemy would love for us to believe that because the world is anxious and panicking, worried and fearful, that we just kind of get pulled right along with everyone else. And that's not what God intended for us. We must learn to live and walk in the rest that God promised us. We're living in sobering times, and at the same time, it's very exciting times for the church. We're one step closer. We're one day closer. But remember, we can't offer the lost peace that we don't have. If we're panicking right along with them, we have nothing to offer them. The world doesn't understand the kind of rest that Jesus is offering. We have to show them. His promise on display in our lives is the greatest witness to the lost. His word, his truth needs to be what's at the forefront of our minds. I don't want unbelief here and now to rob me of the rest that God has promised me here and now. And this is where his word needs to be in our hearts and on our lips, at the forefront. His truth over every lie of the enemy. I'm learning right now that rest is as much a state of mind as anything. You know how we can be reclined somewhere and our minds still be running 100 miles per hour, and yet it's also possible for us to be going about our day and in the middle of the chaos, speak his word, call on the name of Jesus, and find rest in the middle of all of this. Because he said, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." We're his children. It's his free gift to us, his rest. But our faith matters. Where we put our focus matters. It matters that we come to him and lay claim to that promise, lay hold on that promise. He said to come boldly to the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. God bless.